TV went from $6.99 to $9.99 to $18 a month. There are...
I mean, the problem is that you're paying for so many of them, right? Because everything's going up in price. Gas goes up in price. Cars go up in price. Everything is affected by inflation. So it would make sense that this goes up in price. The problem is you have so many of them.
And they're all spread across so many different services. I want to watch them all, but man, does it hurt to fork up so much money.
You want to watch all of them?
To do it.
Just download it off a website.
How did we all end up in this position where we're paying so much for streaming? And maybe more importantly, can we as consumers do any better?
Yeah, you just stop buying it. Yeah, it's pretty simple, right? I mean, so basically, like, what they should do is, like, if you are paying for a lot of streaming services, you should pay for less of them. Like, I think that's like the solution, right? Because that way, if there's a price increase, you don't have to pay as much money because it's only happening with like one or two of them. Like, that's what I would do. Like, not even saying pirating, right? I mean, you can watch it pirated too, but you know, like, that's just that's my must consume. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just that's what
Ready for another round?
To answer these questions, first let's look at the story from the streamer's perspective. And we'll start with Netflix, the biggest, oldest streamer around.
Yep.
For most of its history, Netflix made money in one way: its subscribers.
Yep.
So if Netflix wanted to make more money, add subscribers or raise prices. This was always Netflix's strategy. As this 2021 New York Times article explains, the CEO and founder of Netflix was technically to attract subscribers and raise its prices faster than the debt clock was ticking. And Netflix had taken on a lot of debt, almost $15 billion by 2020, with the purpose of building an entire
Jesus.
No wear and
ensuring that they
tear of
weren't
any
reliant on
kind.
movies and TV that they didn't own, like The Office or Friends. This strategy worked, and for a long time, Netflix grew really reliably, even as its prices went up.
They've had very steady growth. 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then the pandemic happens in 2020, and they have their best year ever.
That's Lucas Shaw, by the way.
Managing editor for media and entertainment at Bloomberg News, and I'm also the author of the newsletter Screen Time.
Okay.
Netflix got to a point where they realized that their growth was much slower than it had been, right? Growth continues to be slower in 2021, and looking into 2022, they get nervous.
Well, yeah, because there's a bunch of other streaming services in the market. Like, people, like, for example, back in like 2011, everybody had Netflix because Netflix was all there was to have. But now, because there's like 50 streaming services, people choose based off of kind of which show is popular. Like, for example, I had a friend, I used his account with like HBO Go or something. I think it was called HBO Go, to watch Game of Thrones. I would, you know, like, look at other shows or something like that on Amazon Movies or something like that. And the more of the different things that there are in the market, the less of the market share that you have. And especially whenever you have things like Disney Plus, where they're actively pulling things away from Netflix to build up their own subscription service. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what's happened.
And then in 2022, Netflix actually lost subscribers.
Ooh.
Just 200,000 at first, and then 1 million.
There are only so many people in the population, right? Even if you got everyone, there is a ceiling to that.
But they also knew that they had more customers than it appeared.
This phenomenon of password sharing. Netflix had said publicly that they were not worried about it, and I think early on, it's true, they were not worried about it because password sharing was a way of exposing the service to more people, and if people liked it, they would convert. But at a certain point, when they hit a bit of a ceiling, they were looking at the numbers, and they said the only way that we're going to be able to grow is if we convert some of those sharers into payers.
This move created a temporary...
Which is like, I mean, that's fair. I mean, like, it's... I understand why they got rid of password sharing. Like, I used password sharing, and I have used Netflix for like 15 or 10 years, and I think that I paid for it for like 3. Yeah, because I was using an ex-girlfriend's Netflix, and then we got in an argument, and she reset the password on me. And so then I had to buy mine. That was like 3 years ago. And so, yeah, that's basically what happened. Yeah, fucking bitch. I know. And, so, yeah, I mean, my dad's been using somebody else's Netflix for like 5 years or something like that. And, I mean, like, if you're not paying for a service, you shouldn't be getting it in general, right? I mean, that's kind of like, I think that's pretty fair. But, I mean, it did work. Like, Netflix getting rid of password sharing didn't make people stop using Netflix. It made more people buy Netflix, which is kind of crazy because everybody said it wasn't going to work, and it fucking did. Look at the numbers.
Subscribers. It made enough of a dent that other companies are following in these footsteps.
Yeah, of course.
But Netflix isn't the only trendsetter. While all this was going on, another company was carving out a slightly different path.
Ooh.
酸痛常让你睡不好吗？交给普拿疼肌力，缓解各种肌肉、关节疼痛，强效舒缓超有感，让你睡好几天。普拿疼肌力。Hey man, where you headed?
We must stop
headed?
this corruption.
Made him headed down the lane. He just doesn't quit. And he comes up.
Sir, where you headed?
I'm just going to work.
Okay, yeah. Is there an address?
Going down?
Tatum rises up. He only goes one way. Elevate. Tatum's reaching a new level here. Tatum's up.
Going down?
Nah, only up.
On the floor.
It's boogie time.
Hulu has always had two tiers to its service, ad-free and ad-supported. According to this 2019 article, Hulu's ad-supported option was the most lucrative tier of their business. It was so successful, they actually lowered the price from $7.99 to $5.99.
Well, yeah, I mean, being able to sell ads is like extremely good, and also like Hulu's, like the amount of money that Hulu is getting paid for posting ads is going to be way higher than YouTube because you know exactly what the content you're advertising on is. Like, one of the reasons why streamers and YouTubers don't make like high ad premiums the same way that like television shows do is because streaming and YouTube has less rules. And in general, advertisers, the more rules that you put on content and the more strict you are with content, the more money you can make with advertising. It just kind of makes sense, right? Because advertisers are going to be, it's going to be easier for them to tell exactly what they're getting. And also, you know, of course, marketing to people that are already buying a service is going to be inherently better because it's already a chosen market of people that have already spent money rather than just like the random general audience. So, yeah, I mean, Hulu will probably make crazy money with advertisements.
Advertising has been the key to a successful video business forever. You know, you think about the cable business.
Yeah.
You don't think about paying for discrete channels, but you are paying for a bundle of channels. And oh, by the way, those channels still have advertising. So it's not really a foreign concept. That's something that Hulu has done quite effectively.
As more streamers
Well, what's going to happen is that if people will eat shit, the companies will serve it. So people were okay with having advertisement in their games, or sorry, in their games too, but in their movies and in their shows. So like everybody complains about it, but the problem is that consumers are so like dopamine addicted fucking slaves basically that they're never gonna be like, you're never gonna have a consumer's like rise up moment. There's never going to be a time where people that really like Star Wars are going to be able to exercise like monetary discretion in what they're buying. They have, you know, like these are people that have collections of Funko Pops. So big surprise that like, you know, they're not very good at controlling their own desires.
With ever-increasing prices, pretty much every service, including Netflix, has introduced a more affordable ad-supported tier to their offerings, which people seem to appreciate. Ad-supported plans have been driving an increasing percentage of new signups and supplementing each company's bottom line. But here's the thing. Most of these companies still aren't profitable.
Part of it is just they're so
Jesus, Disney is like down 1 billion. That's crazy. That is crazy. Oh my God.
I think we lose sight of that. Like these companies spent billions and billions of dollars to launch new services and take on Netflix, and they tried to condense, you know, 15 years of Netflix's streaming service into 3 to 5. And that was...
Well, and also like Netflix has a huge advantage because everybody knows about Netflix, but a lot of people don't know about Peacock or Disney Plus or Paramount Plus or something like that. Now, obviously, a lot of people know about them, but Netflix is like everybody knows about Netflix. It's like it's like fucking a cultural, like there's the whole Netflix and chill. There's not Peacock or Disney Plus and chill. There's no memes about those because they're not as ingrained a culture.
That was very expensive.
So that's it, more or less. Companies fighting debt, revenue losses, subscriber losses, or a mix of